We have the power to create more luck and more serendipity in our lives. But that's not necessarily what we believe. You see, we tend to credit chance for the luck and the serendipity that we experience, which leads us to believe that luck is something that happens to us. It's something beyond our control. It's more of a right place, right time kind of thing. And we actually sometimes refer to serendipity as a happy accident. Historically notable French chemist Louis Pasteur has a quote that challenges this belief. See, Pasteur said that luck favors the prepared mind. And I tend to agree with him. See, I think that actually luck is not so much a happy accident at all. And if it is an accident, it's more of a prepared accident, or even a designed accident. And what's led me to believe this is that over the last several years, I've experienced what I've come to believe is an above average amount of serendipity. And at first, I thought, maybe I'm just a lucky guy. And then I thought, well, actually, maybe I'm just good at taking advantage of lucky moments. And then after a while, it dawned on me that when I experience these lucky moments and this serendipity in my life, I tend to think less about what happens as a result of those moments and more about the factors that led up to the moment itself. And when I came to realize this, it unlocked something within me. It unlocked a realization that I have this power to actually design for the luck that I want to occur in my life. And if Pasteur is right and that we can prepare our minds for luck, how do we do that? And over the course of these last several years, as I've come to realize this power, I've come to understand a process that can be applied. 4 simple phases for how to create more luck and more serendipity in your life. And those phases are, number 1, choose a desired outcome. What is it that you would want to happen that you believe that could only happen if by chance? Number 2, you have to understand the factors that need to play out in order for that outcome to happen. Both the factors that you can control and the factors that you cannot control. Number 3, you have to design an approach, design a plan of how you can use the factors that are within your control to rise the likelihood of that outcome happening and decrease the influence of the factors that you can't control. And the last phase of designing for more luck in your life is to prepare and to practice, going through those factors that you can use to your advantage to decrease the likelihood of the influence of the other factors and increase the likelihood of that desired outcome actually playing out. Now, to exemplify how this process can be applied in reality, I thought it would be appropriate, given that it is the NFL season, to use an example that I think most of us can probably get behind. And of course, that is our beloved Packers. So how do the Packers apply this process of creating luck to winning a football game? Well, let's just, for a moment, take ourselves to Lambeau Field. We're in the last seconds of a game, and the Packers are losing. But with a touchdown, they can win the game. And of course, we know that more times than not, the Packers come through in this situation, in this hypothetical scenario, they do just that. Aaron Rodgers throws a touchdown pass, and the Packers win the game, and we all roll out the barrel. So how is this process of 4 phases for designing luck applied in a moment like that? Because maybe when that game is won, we think, oh man, I was so lucky that he caught that pass. But then we realize, well, football players don't just line up on the line of scrimmage in a moment like that and just leave it to chance. No, there's a process that they've gone to rise the likelihood of their being able to win that game. So, those 4 phases that I'm talking about. Number 1, the Packers chose their desired outcome. That's easy. We want to win the game. Number 2, they understood the factors that are not within their control, such as the weather, the officials, or better yet, the defense that they're going against. They have no control over the defense, but they've gone through a process to understand those factors. They've put in hours to understand these factors. They've watched game film on the opposing team. They understand their defenses in similar situations. They learn the tendencies that different players have in those situations. And once they've understood those factors, they move on to phase 3, which is designing a play, developing an approach, a plan of attack that uses the factors that are within their control, in this case, their players, to decrease the influence of the factors they cannot control, such as the opposing defense, and rise the likelihood of that outcome coming true. They put their best players in the best positions on the field where they're going to be the most effective. They develop a play that has numerous options for them to turn to if one of those options isn't available. And then they move on to phase 4. They practice that play over and over and over again. They go against a scout team in their practices that are mimicking the plays that the opposing team is going to run against them, mimicking the tendencies of the players on the opposing team. And while they're in phase 4 and they're going through this practicing process, they may even realize that the plan that they had developed isn't actually all that effective, and they'll go back to phase 3 and come up with another approach. And maybe they'll have a few different plays that they can go to in that moment based on how the game is played out, based on the weather, based on how the officials have made calls throughout the game. All of this, these first 4 phases, has prepared them for when that moment comes, when they are in this scenario of being down by a touchdown, needing a score to win the game, and they are mentally and physically prepared to act on the factors that are within their control and give them the best chance of decreasing the factors that aren't in their control and rising the likelihood of them winning the game. Now, if we thought about creating luck in our life, like the Packers think about creating luck at the end of a really close game, I would think that we would realize the power that we have, that we can use to create more luck and more serendipity in our lives. And I hope that if we realize that power, we stop relying on chance to create these lucky and serendipitous moments in our lives, and we actually take control and we use the power that we have to do so. So now that you all here have a better idea of how to create more luck and more serendipity in your life, I encourage you, use that power and go be lucky. Thank you.